So I'm curious to hear what your favorite feature is with Clubhouse. Mickey and Jennifer, thanks for stopping by in Clubhouse. I'm testing out a couple of things. I'd love to have my audience members join me. Hey, John, it's good to see you. John, I'd love to have you help me test this thing out. I'm trying something kind of cool, but I need to have a conversation with someone on stage. So if you can jump up and join me for just a second, I'd really appreciate it. Hey, Frank. Hey, Mickey. What we're doing, you guys, is thanks, John. I appreciate you being a guinea pig, and I'll always be there for you, my friend. It's good to see you, John. How you doing?
Doing well, thanks. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. So let me tell you what's going on. I'm not actually recording this, but I'm pushing this out through StreamYard to YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, a couple of different Facebook groups, and Twitter. And I'm curious to see what the quality of the audio is when I'm done. And it's kind of hard for me to test this out to test out all the different platforms while I'm live here on Clubhouse. But I'm curious to see if this allows for a type of audio show that can be broadcasted across all the platforms while we're on Clubhouse. What do you think?
That would be cool if it can.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, I think the only challenge will be the quality of the audio when I listen to the recorded version on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. And John, if you don't mind, just to help me test out that quality, because I've got my Yeti mic in front of me. I'm speaking into my iPhone, so I know my quality is crystal clear, but I'm curious to see the quality coming from your end. Tell me a little bit about your son's BP, his batting practice, and how all of us can learn from the work qualities of a 14-year-old baseball player and why we're not working as hard in our businesses.
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. I appreciate you paying attention to my posts too. Sure. So, I always find it interesting how you get these young kids that get very passionate about something like baseball, and they're willing to put in tons of hours into trying to perfect their craft and look at little things that they can change in their swing or in their approach, how they hold the bat, where their feet are, all those things. And then you have somebody who's working on their career or on their business, and they're kind of going through the motions. And I always found that amazing to me that people wouldn't take that same level of interest and precision in what they do for a living as a 14-year-old does in learning how to play baseball.
Isn't that the truth? Hey, Brandy, thanks for stopping by. We're trying something new out, and I'll fill you in on what's going on. And John, while you were speaking, I was testing out the audio quality on Twitter and Facebook, and it looks like this might actually work. I think I'm onto something here. So, John, my son, I managed my son's little league team for probably 3, 4, 5 years, also coached. And, we're down at the park 5 nights a week, right? BP the night before a game. Everything else in between. And, the commitment these kids make at a young age, from probably 9 years old to, your son being 14, freshman in high school, it's amazing. And I've always thought to myself, why aren't more lawyers dedicating their time to improving their craft as much as our teenage kids are, right? And so, yes, your post resonated with me, John. It really made a lot of sense.
Yeah, and I'm in the business of sales, and you see the same thing in sales. There's so many salespeople that have never read a book on sales, and they've chosen sales as their career. And again, it blows me away. I'm like, well, if that's what you choose as your career, you might as well hone your craft and figure out how you can be the best that you can be. Yeah. And again, a 14-year-old can do it, and a 20, 30, 40, 50 something year old doesn't do it. So always amazing to me.
Well, some of us do. Some of us do. And when I jumped on your live video show the other day, it was fun watching some of us that have been doing this for a while. It was a piece of cake. others, learning the craft, learning how to work the audio. What I'm doing right now, for those of you just joining us, hey, Alicia, it's good to see you, is I'm running a Clubhouse room. I'm actually not recording it on my phone. I just wanted to play it safe and give everybody a heads up. But what I'm doing is I'm actually pushing this out through my laptop to Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, 4 different Facebook pages and groups in the form of an audio only using StreamYard. And I'm curious to see how the audio plays, whether or not it plays nicely with StreamYard. And it's also going to be recorded. And so at the other end, but not here on Clubhouse. And so, Alicia, since you're familiar with StreamYard and you know how I do the dance, I'd really appreciate it, Alicia, if you go over to maybe the Legal Minds Facebook group or one of my Facebook pages, or maybe even my Twitter feed, and check out the audio quality of this conversation. Let me know if you'd be able to listen in almost like a radio show to what I'm doing here on Clubhouse. I've got a couple of ideas, and I'm curious to see if it works. And John, real quick, before I bounce over to Mickey and Brandy and Michelle, if you guys want to join us on stage, and once again, the conversations, what do we like most about Clubhouse? For me, it's building relationships, but that's not the end of the show because I want to play around with the technology. John, tell us a little bit more about, the live video webinar that you did. Do you have some more that are going to be planned? And how can lawyers tap into, what you're doing to raise the bar, moving forward 21?
I like that, raise the bar for lawyers. So I think I might use that. So yes, we do webinars about every other month, and they're on specific topics that we see that might help out attorneys in at least in California, but I'm sure it's going to be opening up to a much larger area now that we have more coming in from other places on social media. And, I had some suggestions on the next one being how workers' comp and personal injury lawyers can, what elements should they look if they have a good cross referral. So that's one of the ideas that has come up recently for another webinar. And as far as your topic for the room, I'll tell you, Clubhouse has been great. And one of the reasons why I wanted to get onto Clubhouse is see if I could find relationships that I couldn't make on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, on these other social media, or even on my own. And I've met people from Clio, from a bunch of the practice management systems that I've wanted to hook up with, because we're coming out with a way to do e-filing for civil attorneys throughout the state of California, and we're going to be launching this fall. And I wanted to partner up with some of these platforms, and also some of the folks that are helping attorneys build their forms, in order to be able to e-file right from whatever platform they're on, either building out their pleadings and briefs, or whether they're saving them on their practice management system, and be able to click a button from there and go right to the filing for efficiency. And I've been able to meet those people on Clubhouse. It's been fantastic for me.
I think you have a lot of movers and shakers here on Clubhouse. I think the people that have been invited onto the platform are the decision makers. I think they're also the individuals and professionals that understand technology can be used to improve what we're doing and become more efficient, save time and money, and provide a better service and value when it's all said and done to the client. I've got Brian Solis. I don't know if you're familiar with Brian Solis, but Brian's going to come on, and he's written a couple of books on the user experience, and I can't wait to bring Brian on and have a whole Clubhouse room and show about how and why lawyers can and should be focusing on the client experience, to set themselves apart. So it sounds to me like that will allow us to do all of the above, John, and I'm excited. And, I really want to, invite you to remind me on how I can tap into my network to introduce you to the right types of lawyers and firms that would be a nice fit for your company, whether it's, small firms, medium-sized firms, large firms, whatever I can do, John, it would be my pleasure.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So my company deals right now with mostly workers' comp attorneys, applicant workers' comp attorneys throughout the state of California. I have 20 reps and about 100 folks here in the office that go out and get the medical records, do the subpoenas, and also deal with the right to work, the return to work voucher system for the injured workers. So that's what we do. And those are most of the referrals that would be good for me right now. But what I'm most interested in, and we've been doing that for 16 years, so that's nothing new. What I'm most interested in is launching the new civil side of the business. So I may hit you up for ideas on that as it gets closer.
Let's talk more about that. And for Emily just joining us and Brandy in the audience, you guys, what's happening right now and what I'm testing out with this Friday afternoon or Friday evening here on the West Coast Clubhouse room is, John, when you think about it, what you and I are talking about in your company and what you just shared with me, it's not just here on Clubhouse. With this audio that I'm broadcasting out, we're tapping into my LinkedIn audience of thousands. We're tapping into my Twitter community of 45,000 plus. We're tapping into 4 or 5 different Facebook pages and groups of friends of mine, of people in my community. And this recorded / video, but it's only a recording, is going to remain out there for anyone to click and listen to even after we close this Clubhouse room. I mean, John, the what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to come up with a way where we've got some amazing guests here in Clubhouse. I've had some world recognized experts as my guests, on planned rooms. Hey, Brandy, thanks for jumping up. And I want to make sure that I can continue to share the value that they're sharing with us here in Clubhouse with the world, right? Afterwards. And this seems to be working. I'm getting feedback from some friends of mine. And what happens is, I don't know if you guys are using StreamYard, but on StreamYard, when someone's over on Twitter or YouTube, LinkedIn, any of my Facebook pages, they can actually click and comment on the live broadcast. Normally it's a live video, and I get all of the comments in one screen here on StreamYard, and I'm looking at them, you guys, and this seems to be working. So I'm excited, John. So we're going to have some traction moving forward, even after this room disappears into thin digital pixie dust. What you do and what you're rolling out and our conversation will be there unless I physically go in and delete it, which, if the audio is terrible, I'm going to delete it, but I think it's working out really, really well. Brandy, thanks for jumping up on stage. Please unmute, and thanks for helping me out with this little experiment.
Hi, Mitch. Thank you for inviting me up. I am in the middle of cooking dinner and in a few minutes have to head over to another room, but the title drew me in and I am really loving Clubhouse, especially after 2020, and I'm still working remotely. It's just such a great way to connect with attorneys and just other like-minded individuals. I like going into a lot of different rooms, and I've seen both you and John on here, so it's nice to be part of this experiment. And Mitch, I was drawn to your profile whenever we were in the same room at some point, and I see that it says speaker / Tony Robbins. So I'd love to learn more about that.
Well, it would be my pleasure. But Brandy, first of all, what are you making for dinner? That's the most important question of the night.
I am making a melody of vegetables, some bell peppers, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and probably will make some dry beans. I'm plant-based, so it's always a variety of a bean and some vegetables.
Sounds delicious. That sounds fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you
Thank you.
Yeah, it sounds delicious. So David Merriman Scott, who speaks all the time at the various Tony Robbins business mastery events, invited me to join him on stage the past couple of years. And we've talked about how my law firm's tapping into the power of newsjacking to build our brand, to bring in new clients, and to develop a presence on the social and digital platforms. So that was primarily my connection at the business, Tony Robbins Business Mastery, which is fun. I'm not used to speaking in front of thousands of people. Hey, Brandy, have you been to any of the events?
I have not been to any of Tony's events, but it is definitely on my to-do list. I'm considering the virtual one. I'm just, I have a lot of Zoom fatigue like everyone else, so I might just wait until he does it in person.
I hear you. It's so David messaged me. First of all, it's an amazing experience and I highly recommend it. And it was great and fun being on stage, a lot of lifelong connections. The Zoom experience that I think David's done 2 of them now, he's standing in a studio with literally 2,000 monitors surrounding him and David's giving his presentation. And he said it was pretty awesome. He really enjoyed the interaction and how his presentation was allowed to be given in today's upside down COVID-19 world. And, they're trying something different. It's not the same as being there in real life, but I think he really enjoyed the experience. And from what I'm hearing from audience members, they did too. This is kind of along the same lines. I wanted to try something a little bit different. So imagine the 5 of us. John's from Australia. Hi, Emily. It's good to see you. I don't know if we've had the pleasure of meeting, but imagine the 5 of us having a formal room that we've planned. We've got topics of discussion and we're doing Q&A with an audience. Some of my audiences in Clubhouse, I get rooms, some pretty big rooms. And so we have this active Q&A. If I go about it the way I'm using Clubhouse right this second, what's happening is this event is being broadcasted around the world to literally 200,000+ potential customers, clients, past clients, future clients, if you look at all the different platforms, and easily 2 to 3 times that many over the next week or 2 as my content gets shared. It's easy, it's fast, it's using available technology. I'm using StreamYard, you guys, and I'm repurposing. What you do is you click one button and StreamYard will stream out your video presentation, just like a Zoom, or in this case, an audio presentation to all of your platforms. Twitter, Periscope, although Periscope's not around anymore, YouTube, LinkedIn, all the Facebook groups and pages. And then you can take the embed code from YouTube and you can embed this live and recorded conversation in your blogs, in your websites. You can take this and repurpose it from this point forward for the next 2 years, 5 years, or 10 years. That's the power of what we're doing. And I know you guys have been in rooms like I have where there's just been some just amazing guests, critically important conversations. But when the room's over, it's over. And this is a way I think where we can preserve good content. I just want to be upfront with everyone. And even though I'm not technically recording this here on Clubhouse, I wanted to be very upfront about what I'm trying to do, because frankly, I didn't know if it would work or not. But the feedback I'm getting from some of my friends is, hey, Mitch, this sounds great on Twitter. Facebook feed looks good. Awesome on LinkedIn, YouTube, no problem. So we're getting good feedback. And then the other thing, you guys, is anybody that's listening to this audio show and including, whatever anyone on stage has to say, they can actually comment from those other platforms, from LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, from Twitter. They can comment. Their comments come into my screen in real time. And for example, John, I've got a couple of people here that have commented back. I know what you guys are talking about with batting practice. Why do they have batting practice, 2 to 3 times a week at night before a game? These kids are 10 years old. They don't need that much practice. They have homework, right? That sounds like something my wife used to say. And so I'm getting feedback from people here. And then Brandy, when you were talking about cooking dinner, yum, sounds delicious. What type of wine do you pair with that meal? It's just fun to see a lot of interaction from people that aren't even on Clubhouse. That is so cool, you guys. I'm excited.
That is really neat. That is really neat. I'm loving your experiment.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's no downside. A lot of lawyers are concerned, well, what if it doesn't work? I'm not picking a jury. This isn't a closing argument. This is not a motion for summary judgment where everything's going to come down to whether or not this works. This is a Friday evening where I'm either, I'm going to go out for a late run as soon as we're done. It was kind of sprinkling earlier here in Southern California. But I mean, I figured why not give it a try? And so I really appreciate you guys jumping up on stage and giving this a try. And Brandy, I know you got to run, so I don't want to keep you, but if you guys ever want to do a room together, or if you have a topic where you want me to tap into this technology where we can preserve the conversation in the room, just like we are right now, just DM me, reach out to me, and I'd be happy to host it under the umbrella of my club and then share it on all of my platforms, you guys, if you're interested. Okay.
I'd also like the opportunity to introduce you to my head of marketing over here, so he can tap into this as well for our future, plans over here.
Absolutely.
If you don't mind.
I would love to. It'd be my pleasure, because the webinar that you did that I was a part of, you could have just as easily done the same thing with StreamYard like I'm doing right now. It would have gone out to all the platforms, and we could have tapped into our respective audiences here on Clubhouse. Wow. That's pretty cool. Yeah. All right.
That is cool.
Yeah.
What great technology. Nice. Great idea, Mitch.
So listen, you guys, do me a favor and jump up when we're done. We're going to wrap this up, but when we're done, jump over to either my Twitter feed or any of my Facebook pages or my LinkedIn and check out the recorded version of what we just did together. I'm curious to see how it looks, how it sounds. Once again, it's audio only, so it's kind of like a talk show, but I think this is going to work. I noticed that as long as I indicated, recorded, it doesn't conflict with the TOS of Clubhouse, although technically I'm not recording anything, but I guess the subsequent show is eventually recorded on the various platforms. So it's probably a good idea. So I have a problem, you guys, of thinking out loud when I'm playing around with this stuff. So I apologize. So check it out and let me know, and then message me and tell me if you think the quality is good enough for taking the time to do something like this. I really am interested in everybody's feedback, you guys. So listen, I'm going to go downstairs and help Lisa make dinner. And I appreciate you guys jumping on and keep me company and saying hi and connecting with you guys on Clubhouse.
Enjoy your dinner, Mitch. Thanks.
All right, John. Take care. Bye-bye, Brandy. Take care. John, see you. Emily, take care. Bye-bye. Okay, you guys, we just wrapped up a test on Clubhouse. What I was doing is broadcasting on Clubhouse and then connecting it to my StreamYard account. So I'm curious to see, once I end the StreamYard broadcast, how this sounds and comes across on the various platforms. If it works, I'm going to keep it up. If it doesn't work, I will be deleting this content in the next couple of minutes. All right, you guys, have a good weekend. Bye-bye.